June 6, 1944, 4:30 a.m. Normandy coast, France. The night refuses to end. Low clouds crawl across the sky, heavy with mist and salt. The English Channel breathes in slow, uneven waves, dark and endless. Along the beaches below, German sentries stamp their boots against the cold, rifles slung tight, eyes burning from sleepless hours. Something feels wrong. Not loud. Not obvious. Just wrong. Far out at sea, beyond what the eye can reach, the horizon flickers not with lightning but with movement, shadows where there should be nothing, shapes forming, dissolving, forming again. A young Jeff Raider squints through binoculars. He lowers them, raises them again. Then he hears it. A distant rolling thunder, not from the sky but from the water. At 4:35 a.m., the first report is sent inland. Possible enemy naval activity, unconfirmed. It is not marked urgent, because similar messages have come before. For months now, the German High Command has lived under a constant storm of false alarms, phantom fleets, dummy radios, fake troop buildups. Allied deception has trained them to doubt everything, especially Normandy. The real invasion, they are certain, will come at Pas de Calais, narrower crossing, shorter supply line, obvious logic. Normandy is a decoy. At least that's what the maps say. Hundreds of kilometers away, in a quiet house near Herrlingen, Germany, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel sleeps. The Desert Fox, Hitler's most famous commander. The man tasked with defending Fortress Europe. He is not at the front. He is home. Rommel left France days earlier to celebrate his wife Lucy's birthday and to plead, once again, with Hitler for armored authority he never received. He hated being away, especially now, but the High Command assured him the weather made invasion impossible. The Channel was too rough. The winds too violent. No commander would risk it. Rommel believed that just enough. At 5:00 a.m., his headquarters in La Roche-Guyon receives another call. Then another. Paratroopers reported inland. Gunfire near bridges. Explosions behind the beaches. The duty officers exchange looks. Airborne troops could mean many things. Raids, sabotage, distraction. Feints. One major shrugs and says the word aloud. Täuschung. Deception. The message sent upward reflects the same calm tone. Enemy airborne activity possible, situation unclear. No one wakes the panzer commanders. No one releases the armored reserves. Because under Hitler's orders, no tank division can move without his personal approval. And Hitler is asleep. At 5:45 a.m., the sea explodes. Naval artillery crashes into the coastline with a violence Normandy has never known. Concrete bunkers shudder. Earth erupts. Entire sections of beach vanish behind smoke and sand. German soldiers stumble from their positions, ears ringing, mouths open in disbelief. This is no raid. This is not a probe. This is annihilation. Along Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juno, and Sword, thousands of landing craft surge forward, gray shapes cutting through foam, ramps rattling, engines screaming. Inside them, Allied soldiers clutch rifles, vomit into helmets, whisper prayers. And still, inland hesitation lingers. Reports pile up on desks. Large naval presence. Massive bombardment. Enemy landing in progress. But which beach? How many men? Is this the main blow, or the distraction before Calais? German doctrine has trained commanders to wait. And waiting now is deadly. At 6:30 a.m., the first frantic message is marked DRINGND, urgent. Enemy forces landing in divisional strength. Divisional strength. That word changes the air in the room. Officers lean closer. Cigarettes tremble between fingers. This is no longer theoretical. Still they hesitate. Because the Allied deception campaign, Operation Fortitude, has worked too well. Fake radio traffic continues to suggest General Patton's Phantom Army is waiting across from Calais. Dummy tanks, inflatable trucks, entire imaginary divisions. If Normandy is the real invasion, then everything they believed is wrong. And admitting that means risking the Reich on a single decision. At 7:15 a.m., Rommel's chief of staff attempts to reach him by phone. No answer. At 7:30, another call. Nothing. Meanwhile, along the coast, German strongpoints fall silent one by one, not because they surrender, but because the men inside are dead. American Rangers claw their way up Point du Hoc under machine gun fire. British commandos storm Sword Beach. Canadian troops push through Juno, yard by yard. The Atlantic Wall, Rommel's life's work, is being tested. And it is cracking. Shortly after 8:00 a.m., Rommel finally receives the call. He listens in silence. Paratroopers behind the lines. Multiple beaches under assault. Naval bombardment unlike anything seen before. For a moment he says nothing. Then quietly, "Das ist es. This is it." He orders his car prepared immediately. As it races toward France, the full picture begins to emerge, not through maps, but through chaos. Telephone lines dead. Messengers delayed. Commanders arguing. The delay he always feared has arrived. Rommel believed the invasion would be won or lost on the beaches in the first hours. If the Allies established a foothold, Germany could not push them back. Now those hours are slipping away. And he is not there. By the time Rommel crosses into France, smoke already stains the horizon. Even from miles away, he can see it. A dark, rising curtain stretching along the coastline. Not clouds. Not fog. Fire. The coastline is burning. And in that moment, before he even reaches headquarters, Rommel understands the truth he dreaded most. They did not come to raid. They did not come to distract. They came to stay. And Germany is already late. The car jolts over uneven roads as it speeds west. Dust coils behind the tires. Telephone poles blur past the windows. Rommel sits rigid in the back seat, cap pulled low, jaw clenched so tightly it aches. Every few minutes, another courier motorcycle appears from the haze, breathless men, faces gray, handing over scraps of paper. Each message is worse than the last. American troops confirmed at Omaha. British armor moving inland near Sword. Airborne units scattered across the Cotentin. Not one landing. Many. Rommel closes his eyes for a second. You can almost hear the calculation happening in his head, not panic, not denial, but the cold arithmetic of a commander who knows exactly what this means. This is not a feint. This is the main blow. And it has already landed. At La Roche-Guyon, his headquarters hums with confusion when he arrives. Maps are cluttered with grease-pencil markings. Phones ring unanswered. Officers argue in tight, exhausted voices. Rommel strides in without ceremony. Report. No salute, no delay. A young officer steps forward, voice shaking slightly. Field Marshal, Allied landings confirmed on 5 beaches. Naval forces beyond estimation. Air superiority total. Rommel studies the map. 5 beachheads. Not a single one at Calais. The deception has succeeded completely. He exhales slowly through his nose. All right, he says, then we fight them where they stand. He orders immediate counterattacks. And immediately, he hits the wall he feared more than the Allies themselves. The panzers. The armored reserves, the only force capable of throwing the invaders back into the sea, remain immobilized. Because Hitler still has not given permission. Some divisions are under OKW control, others under Army Group B. Some report to commanders who are themselves unsure whether the invasion is real. The German command structure fractures under pressure. Rommel slams his fist onto the table. By the time authorization arrives, he snaps, it will be too late. By mid-morning, reports from the beaches become clearer and more horrifying. At Omaha, American casualties are severe, but the men keep coming. Despite machine guns and artillery, small groups crawl forward, blow gaps in wire, silence bunkers one by one. At Gold and Juneau, British and Canadian troops push inland faster than expected. At Sword, tanks are already rolling off landing craft. Rommel had warned Berlin of this exact scenario. He had argued relentlessly that the invasion must be crushed at the water's edge, that once Allied air power and logistics took hold, Germany would lose the initiative forever. Now he watches it happen in real time. And he cannot stop it. Shortly after noon, Hitler finally awakens. The first reports reach him cautiously, filtered, softened. His reaction is immediate skepticism. He is convinced Normandy is a diversion. Patton's army, he insists, still waits at Calais. The armored reserves remain frozen. Hours pass. Rommel fumes. Every minute means more men ashore, more tanks, more artillery, more supplies pouring through the surf. The Atlantic Wall was meant to delay. The panzers were meant to destroy. Without them, the wall is just concrete. By early afternoon, Rommel drives closer to the front. As his staff car approaches the coast, the world changes. The air smells of cordite and smoke. Wounded men stumble inland, uniforms torn, faces blackened. Medical trucks race past in the opposite direction. Overhead, Allied aircraft roam freely, fighters diving, bombers droning unchallenged. Rommel watches one German column scatter into ditches as rockets tear through the road. He says nothing. He does not need to. This is what air supremacy looks like. From a vantage point near the coast, he finally sees the beaches. Not clearly. They are hidden behind walls of smoke. But he can hear them. The thunder of naval guns. The crack of small arms. The endless mechanical roar of war. Through binoculars, flashes flicker where bunkers once stood. The sea itself seems crowded, ships upon ships, stretching to the horizon. An armada beyond imagination. Rommel lowers the glasses slowly. For the first time that day, something close to despair crosses his face. This is not 1940. This is not France collapsing in weeks. This is the industrial weight of the world crashing down on Europe. He turns to his staff. The war will be decided here, he says quietly. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Here. In Normandy. But even as he speaks, the truth settles heavier with every passing moment. They are already behind. The Allies are not being thrown back. They are digging in. Building airstrips. Landing artillery. Connecting beachheads. Each hour transforms invasion into occupation. Rommel understands something many others still refuse to admit. Germany has lost the initiative, and once lost, it will never return. That evening, as darkness creeps back over Normandy, Rommel studies the latest situation map. The red pins keep multiplying. He stares at them for a long time. Then he says something that chills the room. If we do not destroy them tonight, we never will. Outside, Allied ships continue unloading under moonlight. Men, machines, fuel, ammunition, an unstoppable tide. Rommel knows what tomorrow will bring. And he knows Germany no longer controls its own fate. Not on the beaches, not in the air, not anymore. But the most dangerous realization has yet to come, one that will unfold not on the battlefield, but inside Hitler's mind, where reality itself is about to fracture. Night falls over Normandy without silence. There is no calm, no pause. The darkness only hides the violence, it does not end it. Along the beaches, Allied engineers work beneath blackout hoods, clearing obstacles by hand. Trucks grind forward through wet sand. Wounded men groan softly as medics move between them. Offshore, naval guns remain trained inland, ready to fire at the first flash of German movement. The invasion does not sleep. Inside German headquarters, exhaustion sets in, the dangerous kind that dulls judgment. Rommel stands over the map again, coat still on, helmet untouched since morning. His face is drawn tight, eyes red not from emotion, but from calculation pushed beyond its limits. Every counterattack he orders meets the same fate. Columns move by day, they are destroyed from the air. They move by night, they are delayed, scattered, misdirected. The Allied sky belongs to the Allies alone. This was the nightmare Rommel predicted. Near Caen, elements of the 21st Panzer Division finally move without full authorization, a gamble born of desperation. Tanks push toward the coast, engines growling in the dark. For a moment, hope flickers. Then flares bloom overhead. Seconds later, naval shells crash down with terrifying precision. The earth opens. Steel burns. The advance dies before dawn. Rommel receives the report silently. Another opportunity lost. Another hour gone. At Führer headquarters, reality bends. Hitler refuses to believe Normandy is the true invasion. Even as photographs arrive showing beaches packed with men and material, he clings to Calais, to Patton's phantom army that exists only in Allied radio transmissions. He orders panzer divisions to remain in reserve. He speaks of counterstrokes that will come later. Rommel listens to the messages in disbelief. Later does not exist anymore. Every minute the Allies remain ashore multiplies their strength. Yet decisions remain paralyzed by pride and illusion. Rommel has fought many enemies. This one, denial, may be the most dangerous of all. On June 7th, the second day, the beaches are no longer beaches. They are ports. Temporary harbors take shape. Supply dumps rise. Engineers lay steel mesh roads over sand. The Allied foothold deepens into permanence. German units launch local attacks, brave, bloody, and futile. The Allied air umbrella smothers everything. Rommel drives the front again, ignoring warnings. At one point, fighter-bombers strafe the road just meters ahead of his car. The driver swerves violently, barely avoiding destruction. Rommel steps out afterward, dust coating his uniform. He looks skyward, not in fear, in recognition. The war has changed beyond Germany's ability to adapt. He dictates a message to Berlin. It is unusually direct. If the enemy succeeds in consolidating his bridgehead, the war in the West is lost. No flourish, no propaganda, just truth. But truth has little power in a system that punishes it. As days pass, Rommel watches his defensive line bend, not break yet. The Allies push cautiously, methodically. They do not rush. They build. This frightens him more than speed ever could. Because slow means sustainable. And sustainable means inevitable. German losses mount. Fuel dwindles. Experienced officers fall faster than replacements can arrive. The old tempo of German warfare, shock, movement, decision, is gone. Now they react. Always react. By mid-June, Rommel confides privately to his staff what he will never say publicly. The enemy has won the material war, he admits. We can only delay the end. It is not surrender. It is realism. And realism is dangerous in the Third Reich. On July 17, 1944, while inspecting positions near Liverot, Rommel's staff car is attacked by Allied aircraft. Bullets rip through the windshield. The driver loses control. The car flips violently into a ditch. Rommel is thrown against the frame, skull fractured, unconscious. As medics rush him away, the front continues without him. Germany's best defensive commander is removed not by strategy, but by air supremacy. The same force he warned about from the beginning. Rommel never returns to Normandy command. 2 months later, after being linked to the July 20 plot against Hitler, he is given a choice: public trial and execution, or quiet death. On October 14, 1944, Erwin Rommel takes poison in his home. The regime he served will not survive him by long. But the moment that sealed everything came earlier. Not in October, not in July, but on that gray morning, June 6th, when the first landing reports were dismissed, when hesitation replaced urgency, when the coastline began to burn and Germany waited. Because wars are not always lost by defeat. Sometimes they are lost by delay.